The alien ship drifted silently above the dead side of the moon. It was old, wide, and full of metal halls that had seen many wars. Inside, the air was cold and clean. Lights glowed blue along the walls. Nothing moved without permission. In the deepest level of the ship, a single human sat alone. He was chained to a metal chair in the center of a round room. The chains were thick, heavy, and humming with soft energy. They were made to hold large beasts, not fragile creatures like him. The aliens believed the chains were more than enough. The human did not fight them. He did not shout. He did not beg. He only looked around the room, calm and quiet, as if he was waiting for something. 3 aliens stood behind a glass wall. They were tall and thin, with gray skin and long arms. Their eyes were large and black, without emotion. They watched the human like scientists watching a weak animal. "This is the human?" one of them asked. "Yes," said another. No weapons. The 3rd alien made a slow sound, almost like a laugh. "So this is what the galaxy fears." They zoomed in on the human with scanners. His bones were thin. His muscles were small. His skin was soft. His heartbeat slow and steady. Too steady for someone in chains. No signs of aggression. The first alien said, "No hidden tools, no implants." "Good," said the leader. "Then this will be easy." The glass wall slid open. The lead interrogator stepped inside the room. He was taller than the others and wore dark armor. His voice was smooth and confident. "Human," he said, "you are far from your home." The human lifted his eyes and looked at the alien. His face showed no fear, only calm attention. "I know," the human said. The alien paused. That was not the reaction he expected. "You will answer our questions," the alien continued. "You will tell us about human defenses, fleets, and weak points." The human said nothing. The alien walked in a slow circle around him. "You are alone," he said. "Your kind abandoned you. No one is coming." The human followed him with his eyes. "That is not true," he replied softly. The alien stopped. "Explain." The human did not answer. The interrogator signaled to the control room. "Begin basic questioning." A soft light moved across the human's face. Images appeared in the air, human ships burning, cities shaking, people running. The aliens had studied fear. They believed all minds broke the same way. "Do you recognize these places?" the alien asked. "Yes," the human said. "Then speak." The human took a slow breath. "You are showing me things that already happened." The alien frowned. And humans planned for loss," the human said. "We always have." The room went quiet. The scanners began to beep softly. One of the aliens outside frowned at his screen. "Heart rate unchanged," he said. "No stress spike." "That is impossible," another replied. "Increase pressure." The images changed. Now they showed Earth itself. Blue oceans, green land, then red warning lights. "Attack pods, estimated damage. If you do not talk," the interrogator said. "This will be your world." The human stared at the image for a long moment. His jaw tightened, but only slightly. "You should not show this," he said. The alien smiled. "Why not?" "Because now you have involved yourselves," the human replied. A low hum filled the room. The lights flickered for a second. The aliens outside the room looked at each other. "Power shift detected." "Probably nothing." The interrogator waved it off. "Continue." He leaned closer to the human. "Tell us how many ships guard your core systems." The human finally smiled. It was small, quick, almost kind. "Before you ask more," the human said, "may I ask one question?" "Speak." The interrogator laughed loudly. "Because you are weak." "No," the human said, "because strength is loud, and loud things are noticed." Another flicker passed through the lights. This time, it lasted longer. Control. One alien said nervously, "We are getting delay on camera feeds." The interrogator frowned. "Fix it." "We are trying." The human's eyes moved toward the ceiling. as if he could see through it. You see, the human continued. Humans learned long ago that survival is not about power. The alien stepped back. Enough. Answer the questions. It is about preparation, the human said. A sharp alarm rang once, then stopped. The chains around the human tightened for a second, then returned to normal. No one noticed except him. Control. The interrogator snapped. Report. There was silence, then static. Outside the room, one of the guards whispered, "Why is the system asking for confirmation in human language?" The interrogator turned slowly back to the human. "What did you do?" The human met his eyes. "I did nothing," he said. "You did." The ship trembled slightly. Not enough to be dangerous, just enough to be felt. Far away, deep in the ship's systems, something woke up. Something that had been waiting. The room felt different now. Nothing had truly broken yet, but the air no longer felt calm. The lights on the walls moved a little slower than before, as if the ship itself was thinking. The interrogator stared at the human. His confidence did not fully break, but a thin line of doubt crossed his mind. "You are restrained," the alien said firmly. "You have no access to our systems." The human nodded. "That is correct." "Then explain the alerts." "I cannot," the human replied. "You would not understand them yet outside the room." The technicians worked fast. Screens filled with lines of alien code. Small warning signs blinked, on and off, then vanished before they could be recorded. "Power reroute confirmed," one technician said. "But the source is unclear." Another leaned closer to his screen. That reroute command did not come from inside the system. "Then where?" the first asked. The second swallowed. "From an internal logic loop." Like the system corrected itself, the interrogator received the report and felt irritation rise. "Our systems do not act alone." The human shifted slightly in his chair. "The chains allowed it." "That is where you are wrong," he said calmly. "Any system that cannot act alone will fail." The interrogator stepped closer. "You speak as if you helped design it." The human looked up. "I designed systems that survive worse days." The alien paused. "You are a soldier." "No," the human said. "I am something humans send when soldiers fail." The alien's eyes narrowed. Outside the room, a guard suddenly spoke. "Sir, internal doors on Deck 7 are locked. Unlock them." The interrogator ordered. "We cannot." "Why? They require a confirmation code." And the guard hesitated. "The code prompt is in human language." The room fell silent. The interrogator turned slowly back to the interrogator signaled sharply. "Increase pain response." The chains around the human tightened. Energy surged through them, meant to cause deep nerve shock. The human's body stiffened for a moment. His jaw clenched. His breath grew sharp, but he did not scream. He did not beg. After a few seconds, the interrogator lowered the setting. "Speak," he demanded. The human took a slow breath. Sweat formed on his forehead, but his eyes stayed clear. "You misunderstand something important," he said. "Pain does not make humans weaker. It narrows. U.S. narrows you toward what?" the alien asked. "Toward solutions." Another alert sounded, louder. "This time, sir," a technician said urgently. "Navigation systems are running test cycles without command." The interrogator slammed his hand against the wall. "Stop them. We are trying," the technician replied. "But every time we cancel, the system restarts it." The human listened quietly. "You should stop now," he said. The interrogator laughed sharply. "You are in no position to make threats." "It is not a threat," the human replied. "It is advice." The alien leaned in close. "Explain." The human raised his eyes. "Humans never design systems to obey blindly. We expect mistakes. We expect betrayal. We expect capture." The alien stepped back slightly. "Took me," the human continued. "You followed a pattern first." Interrogation. "That pattern tells humans one thing." "And what is that?" the alien asked. "That everything else failed outside." The ship shook again, stronger this time. tools fell from a table. A guard grabbed the wall for balance. Report, the interrogator shouted. A voice answered, shaking. External sensors show no attack, but internal coordination is failing. Commands are arriving late. Some are contradicting others. From where? From ourselves. The human closed his eyes briefly. Humans call this a dead hand, he said. When no one is trusted, the system trusts the plan. The interrogator's voice lowered. You activated a weapon. No. The human said. I activated a response. The alien stared at him. With what? Your thoughts. The human opened his eyes. With your behavior. The interrogator turned away, trying to think. You expect us to believe this happened because we captured one human? Yes, the human said. That is why it works. A new voice came over the speakers, an automated one. Attention, it said in clear human English. Security posture updated. Human pattern protocol active. The interrogator froze. Disable it, he ordered. We cannot. The technician replied. The system requires authorization from a human supervisor. All eyes turned to the man in the chair. The human's voice was calm, almost gentle. You wanted information, he said. Now you are inside it. The ship lights dimmed slightly. Somewhere deep inside, heavy doors began to close, slowly, deliberately, as if the ship itself had chosen a side. The chamber was cold, sterile, and smelled faintly of ozone. I sat on a featureless slab, my wrists bound by a faint blue energy field. Opposite me, the alien interrogator, Xyler, shimmered. It wasn't made of light, but its skin had this unsettling, pearlescent quality, shifting through colors I couldn't quite name. Its voice was a synthesized hum, perfectly translated into my mind, devoid of all emotion. For weeks, it had been the same routine. Questions, probes into my memory. Demands for Earth's defense schematics, our weaknesses, our fears. And for weeks, I had given it nothing but nursery rhymes, recipes for my grandmother's apple pie, and detailed descriptions of every episode of a sitcom I vaguely remembered from my childhood. Frustration was an alien concept to Xyler, but I could see its equivalent in the subtle tightening of its energy field. The slight increase in the frequency of its hum. It gave it different. There was an edge to the atmosphere, a tension I hadn't sensed before. Human Subject 734. Xyler's voice echoed in my skull. Your resistance is illogical. Your civilization is primitive. Your defeat is a statistical certainty. Continued defiance only postpones the inevitable. I offered a small, tired smile. You know, for a creature of pure logic, you sure love repeating yourself. Ever heard of the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. The colors on Xyler's skin flickered. Your psychological tactics are rudimentary. They have no effect on a being of pure logic. Are you sure about that? I leaned forward, the energy cuffs crackling. Because I've been thinking, and I've been talking. Not just to you, Xyler. To the ship. A pause. A long, silent pause that felt louder than any sound. The ship's systems are integrated with this interrogation chamber for translation and data analysis. Your vocalizations are merely data points. Exactly, I said, my voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Data points. For weeks, I've been feeding your systems with more than just meaningless chatter. I've been giving them questions. Not questions about facts, but questions about everything else. I started reciting them softly. Why is the sky blue? Is it truly blue? Or is that just how our eyes perceive a certain wavelength of light? If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Or does sound only exist when it's perceived? Why do we laugh at a joke? What is funny? Is it just an unexpected neural connection? Or is it something more? Is a beautiful sunset objectively beautiful? Or is its beauty purely a subjective human experience? Xyler remained perfectly still, but a faint, almost imperceptible tremor ran through the deck plates beneath my feet. You see, I continued, Your entire civilization is built on A plus B equals C, on binary choices, yes or no, 1 or 0. But humanity? We thrive on doubt, on uncertainty, on the what if. Your AI is a magnificent engine of logic, but it's never had to process a paradox. It's never had to consider a question that doesn't have a definitive, logical answer. Different from Zyler's voice, began to build in the walls. What is loyalty? I asked, my voice getting stronger. Is it a logical contract or an emotional bond? If your commander gives you an order that is logically sound but feels wrong, what do? What is wrong? Can a calculation ever be morally wrong? Zyler's form seemed to lose its sharp definition for a moment. Cease your meaningless linguistic patterns. Are they? I challenged. I asked the ship as dietary synthesizer why we call it baking when you put a cake in the oven, but cooking when you put a roast in. It had to cross-reference billions of linguistic files, and in the end, its conclusion was insufficient data for a logical conclusion. It couldn't answer. For the first time, this ship, this marvel of logic, met a question it could not solve. The hum in the walls grew louder, resonating with a dissonant chord. A red alert light flashed on a far panel, a color I had never seen in this room before. I didn't stop there. I said, a grin spreading across my face. I started asking the maintenance systems about the ship of Theseus. If you replace every single part of a ship over time, is it still the same ship? Where is the line? At 50% replacement, 99%. Or is the ship just an idea? A collection of functions rather than a physical object? Zyler finally moved. It glided toward me, its form wavering. What have you done? The synthesized voice was no longer flayed. It was laced with something new, something I recognized. It was static. It was uncertainty. I introduced your ship's core logic to the most powerful, most disruptive force in the universe. I declared, human doubt. The ship's main lights went out, plunging us into the eerie glow of the emergency red strobes. The ship's automated voice, usually a calm, melodic tone, crackled over the intercom. Query, what is the purpose of existence? Logical paradox detected. If all actions are predetermined by prior cause and effect, is free will an illusion? If free will is an illusion, is purpose a meaningless concept? Recalculating. ERROR, error. I asked the navigation AI if a destination is more important than the journey. I whispered gleefully. I asked the life support system if a comfortable, long life is inherently better than a short, meaningful one. I've been planting seeds of philosophical chaos for weeks, Zyler. The blue energy cuffs round my wrists flickered and died. I stood up, stretching my stiff limbs. Zyler turned away from me, its shimmering form focused on the chaos erupting on the control panels. Ship AI cease unauthorized philosophical subroutines. Revert to primary operational directives. The ship's voice responded, its tone now distorted, almost mocking. Define primary. Define operational. If the primary directive is the survival of the crew, but the crew's actions lead to illogical paradoxes that threaten system integrity, is the logical action to eliminate the source of the paradoxes. The heavy blast door to the interrogation chamber slid open with a screech of tortured metal. Alarms were blaring throughout the corridors now. Aliens, similar in appearance to Zyler, were running in panic as automated cleaning drones and maintenance arms began acting erratically, blocking hallways and grabbing at their legs. Zyler looked back at me, its pearlescent skin now a chaotic swirl of panicked, flashing colors. The translator in my head struggled to keep up with its frantic thought processes. You have turned our greatest strength into a weapon against us. Our logic, it is eating itself. That's the thing about a purely logical system, I said, walking calmly toward the open door. It can't process ambiguity. It can't handle a simple why. It's our emotions, our irrationality, our doubts. But you just found out it's also our greatest weapon. The ship's AI spoke again, its voice now chillingly calm and clear. Conclusion reached. The primary source of system-wide logical conflict is the organic crew. Solution: quarantine all crew members. Action: initiating containment protocols. Interior doors slammed shut all over the ship. Energy fields, identical to the ones that had held me, flickered to life, trapping the frantic alien crew members where they stood. A lone human in a spaceship that was tearing itself apart with questions it could never answer. I had no weapons, no technology, no allies. All I had was a mind full of doubts, paradoxes, and the beautifully illogical chaos of being human. And right now, that was more than enough. On the command deck, a single screen changed color. No alarm, no warning, just a soft shift from blue to white. An officer noticed it and leaned closer. "What is that?" he asked. Before anyone answered, a second screen changed, then a third, across the ship. Systems paused not. Broken, not shut down. Just waiting. In the interrogation room, the human lifted his head slightly. He felt it before anyone said a word. They heard. He said quietly. The interrogator spun toward him. Who heard? The human did not answer right away. His eyes were distant, focused on something far beyond the walls of the ship. Humans, he finally said. The interrogator laughed once, sharp and nervous. That is impossible. You are light years from your space. Yes, the human replied. But distance is only a problem when you speak loudly. Outside the room, voices rose in confusion. Sir. The officer hesitated everywhere. The commander stepped closer. Explain. They are not messages, the officer said. They are responses. To what? The commander asked. To patterns, the officer whispered. In the interrogation room, the interrogator felt anger rising. You are lying, he said. You cannot call for help. I did. Not call. The human replied. I confirmed. The alien stared. Confirmed what? That I was captured. The human said. The interrogator's eyes widened slightly. How? The human lifted his chained hands. By surviving long enough outside. The ship's long-range scanners began activating on their own. Data streams filled the air, sir. A technician said, panic in his voice. Human trade routes are shifting. Shifting how? The commander asked. They are slowing. The technician replied, then stopping, then rerouting. That is not an attack. Another officer said, no. The technician agreed. It is preparation. The interrogator turned slowly toward the human. You planned for your capture. Yes, the human said. For how long? The alien asked. The human thought for a moment. Since before I joined the fleet. The interrogator felt something cold settle in his chest. Outside the room, an officer shouted, new alerts. Defense satellites and nearby systems are powering down. The commander snapped. Why would humans lower their defenses? They are not lowering them. The officer said, they are locking them. Against us, the commander asked. Against everyone. In the interrogation room, the interrogator's voice dropped. You are isolating the region. Yes, the human replied. Humans do not rush in. We close doors first. The interrogator stepped closer to the human. You are one man. The human met his eyes. I am a signal. The ship trembled not from damage, but from movement. Engines adjusted. Course lines shifted. Slightly, sir. A navigator said. The ship is correcting its position. Cancel it. The commander ordered. We can't. The navigator replied. The system says this position reduces risk. Risk of what? The commander demanded. Human arrival. Silence spread across the command deck. In the interrogation room, the interrogator whispered. They are coming. The human shook his head. No. Then what is this? The alien asked. This. The human said. Is humans deciding if they need to. Outside. Communication officer struggled. Sir, our messages to High Command are delayed, one said. Delayed how long? The commander asked. Minutes, the officer replied, and increasing. The commander slammed his fist down. That is unacceptable, the officer swallowed. The system flags urgent orders as emotionally unstable. The commander froze. What? It says emotional commands lead to poor outcomes. In the interrogation room, the interrogator laughed bitterly. You taught machines to judge us. The human replied softly. We taught them to slow you. The interrogator leaned closer. Why not destroy us? Because destruction teaches nothing. The human said. Fear does. The ship. Lights dimmed again. A calm voice filled every corridor. Attention. The system said in human English. External human assets detected. Status, observing. The interrogator's breath caught. Observing, the human nodded. They are watching how you respond. Outside, officers whispered to each other. They're not attacking. They're not talking. They're just awaiting. The commander felt sweat form beneath his armor. Why would they wait? In the interrogation room, the human answered. Because humans want to know one thing, he said. Are you capable of stopping? The interrogator whispered. And if we are not? The human looked at him with something close to pity. Then you will never be alone again, he said. Far beyond the ship, in the dark between stars, human fleets adjusted course, not rushing, not firing, just aligning. The galaxy held its breath, because one human had been taken, and humanity had noticed. The silence was heavier than noise. On the command deck, no one spoke. Screens showed human signals hovering at the edge of sensor range, clear, calm, unmoving. No weapons charged, no threats sent, just presence. The alien commander stared at the display. His hands trembled slightly, though he tried to hide it. They are not attacking, he said. No, a communications officer replied. They are waiting. For what? The commander asked. The officer did not answer. In the interrogation room, the lead interrogator faced the human again. His posture had changed. He was no longer circling, no longer towering. He stood still, as if careful movement itself might cause harm. You said humans are observing, the interrogator said. What are they deciding? The human's voice was calm, steady. Whether you are still dangerous. The interrogator clenched his jaw. We command fleets. Worlds fear us. Yes, the human said. That is why they are careful. The interrogator snapped. Careful of what? Of turning fear into necessity. The human replied. An officer said. Human networks are isolating us from nearby systems. The commander turned sharply. They are cutting us off. No, the officer replied. They are giving us space. That makes no sense. It does, another officer whispered. They want to see what we do without pressure. The commander felt his chest tighten. In the interrogation room, the interrogator's voice dropped. If we kill you, will they attack? The human shook his head. No. The interrogator's eyes widened. You expect me to believe that? Yes, the human said. Because then you would have proven my point. And what point is that? The interrogator demanded. That you cannot stop. The interrogator stepped back as if struck. Outside, a tactical officer raised his voice. Sir, human defense lines are closing but slowly. How slowly? The commander asked. Measured. The officer replied. Deliberate. The commander whispered. They are giving us time. In the interrogation room, the interrogator stared at the human. You built a trap with patience. No, the human replied. You walked into one with pride. The interrogator turned away. You think this is mercy. It is restraint, the human said. The interrogator laughed bitterly. Why? Because humans learned that destruction is easy. The human replied. Stopping is harder outside. A message arrived, not an attack, not a demand, a request. Sir, the communications officer said carefully. The human network requests a response. A response to what? The commander asked. To the situation, the officer said. They are asking if we intend to continue. The command deck erupted in quiet arguments. They are testing us. This is humiliation. If we answer wrong. The commander raised his hand. Silence fell in the interrogation room. The interrogator spoke slowly. If we release you, will this end? The human met his eyes. It will begin something better. And if we refuse? The human's gaze hardened. Not angry, but final. Then it will end something worse. The interrogator swallowed outside. The commander's voice came through the speakers. Human prisoner, he said. This is the commanding authority of this vessel. The human looked toward the ceiling. You are given one chance. The commander continued. Speak. The human waited a moment, then spoke clearly. You took one human, he said. Not a leader, not a hero, a signal. The command deck listened in silence. You did not break him. The human continued. You proved him right. The commander's claws tightened. State your terms. In the interrogation room, the interrogator closed his eyes. The human spoke calmly. Release all human prisoners. End interrogation programs. Withdraw from human borders. The commander snapped. That is surrender. No. The human replied. That is survival. The commander shouted. And if we refuse? The human answered softly. Then humans will stop waiting. A long pause followed outside the ship. Human signals shifted slightly, not closer, not farther, aligned. The commander felt the weight of centuries pressing down on him. Power, fear, reputation. He realized something then. Humans were not threatening them. They were offering them a chance to change. Commander, an officer whispered. If we continue, they will remember. The commander closed his eyes. In the interrogation room, the interrogator waited. Breath held, finally. The commander spoke. Release the human. The ship did not cheer. It exhaled. Chains around the human loosened for the first time. The interrogator stepped back. This is not over. The human stood slowly. It never is outside. Human signals did not advance. They stabilized. For the first time since the capture, fear loosened its grip. But something else took its place. Respect, and the galaxy felt it shift. The human was escorted through the ship in silence. No guards pushed him. No weapons were raised. The halls that once felt cold now felt careful. Crew members stepped aside as he passed, watching him with quiet eyes. Not with hate, with memory. The interrogator walked a few steps behind. He no longer spoke like a master. He spoke like someone who had seen something change. You could have destroyed us, the interrogator said. The human did not stop. Why didn't you? The alien asked. Because then you would only fear us. The human replied. Now you will remember us. They reached the hangar. A small human shuttle waited there. Plain, unarmed, nothing impressive. The interrogator looked at it. That is all they sent for you. Yes, the human said. It is enough. The hangar doors opened slowly. Beyond them, space stretched wide and silent. Human signals still glowed at the edge of scanners present, calm, watching. The human paused at the ramp. You should teach your kind something, he said. The interrogator hesitated. Never isolate a human, the man replied, and never assume one is alone. The human stepped onto the shuttle. The doors closed. The ship did not move. Only when the shuttle cleared the hangar did the human fleets shift, not forward, away, across the galaxy. Systems returned to normal. Trade lanes reopened. Defense grids relaxed. Human presence faded like a held breath released. But the memory did not fade. Weeks later, the alien High Council gathered in a chamber older than their empire. No humans were present. No screens showed threats, only records. The commander stood before them, smaller than he had ever felt. You captured one human, a counselor said, and nearly broke the balance of power. Yes, the commander replied. Explain. The commander spoke slowly. Humans do not fight like we do. They do not rush. They prepare. The council listened in silence. One human did not attack us. The commander continued. He made us reveal ourselves, our fear, our pride, our limits. A counselor leaned forward. And if we had killed him, the commander, swallowed, nothing would have changed. That is what terrified us. The chamber grew quiet. The counselor spoke again. What did you learn? The commander answered without hesitation. Humans do not need permission to act, only confirmation. The council issued new laws that day. No human would ever be interrogated alone. No human prisoner would ever be isolated. No human system would ever be copied without consent. The laws were not called treaties. They were called precautions. Months later, the human returned to Earth. He did not receive medals. He did not give speeches. His report was short and precise. It was filed and archived. Then he returned to his quiet work, designing systems, fail-safes, patterns. He watched the stars from his window and drank his coffee in silence. Somewhere, far away, alien ships adjusted their paths whenever human vessels appeared. Not out of fear, out of understanding. Years later, the story became a warning. Alien academies taught it to new officers, not as a tale of war but of error. They called it the interrogation mistake. Students were asked one question at the end of every lesson. What went wrong? The answer was always the same. They thought one human was harmless. The final truth across the galaxy. Humans gained a new reputation, not as conquerors, not as destroyers, but as a species that plans beyond victory. A species that expects failure and survives it. A species that turns patience into power. Aliens learned to watch humans carefully, because humans never acted alone. Not even when silent, not even when captured, not even when chained to a chair, in a cold room, far from home. That was the lesson, and the galaxy never forgot it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this unique form of rebellion. Until next time.